Running a Fever, Episode 10, Mental Toughness. Welcome to Running a Fever, Episode 10. I believe this is Episode 10. Again, not keeping track. Definitely past Episode 8, which is, that's the thing. Most podcasts stop after 7. They don't get to 8. Or they stop earlier, but they definitely do not get to 8. That's one of those statistics, I guess. It doesn't really matter because it's not, like all statistics, it's not good at predicting future results. Only what has happened in the past. But anyway, I'm glad to get to this point to where I have, at least that many episodes. Makes me feel a little better about being able to continue. And I hope you're enjoying it. Giving you what I'm feeling, what I'm going through in this journey of trying to get to where I can actually run and be healthy. It's interesting. I'm thinking about, and I haven't really lost any weight, I don't think. And I talked yesterday about that. Still, it's time to buy a new pair of jeans, right? And I'm thinking, should I get the size I have or a size smaller? Questions like that. I'm confident I'm going to continue to do this. I hope something doesn't come up that's, rocks my world so much that I get out of the habit. But there's bound to be worse things ahead, and I'm determined to go forward through whatever happens. I was thinking about time. Time is one of those things that can just get in the way, and you think, well, I've got to work late today, or I've got to come in early tomorrow, or I've got this family thing going on, or I've got this other project that I want to do that's my hobby, or, like for me, I've got to edit a bunch of podcasts or something. These things come up, and sometimes it's just your regular schedule is not conducive to a habit of running every day, of exercising every day. I am fortunate, blessed, that I have a job that is somewhat flexible. We do have to go to work, but I can shift my hours ahead or backward pretty much whenever I need to. For like a single day earlier this week, I got out of work early and I had something that night. Actually, I have something tonight, and I don't think there's going to be a problem with me getting there because I got out at my normal time. So I'm blessed that I have that. I was trying to think of some things that if you weren't that flexible, and you did have things in your schedule that you couldn't move, what you could do to develop that habit, to develop that routine. I don't know. It's easy to say get up earlier in the morning or go out later at night, but those things have problems. I've talked about the light. Probably be what I would try to do. I'm a morning person, so I would probably try to get up early in the morning. Or maybe there's something, that I just have to move or have to stop doing. Like my dad said, it's probably permissible and actually very healthy to work out just 3 times a week. It's certainly better than none at all. I prefer to do it a little more often, but, I think I would at least want to do that. And I think I would at least want to make room for that in my schedule. Of course, now I'm trying to make physical fitness my number one priority. So I have to consider that in terms of other things in my life. Everything in my life is a lower priority than that I'm doing, because everything depends on that. But I'm going to my regular spot today in Lake Fayetteville, not the one that I went on yesterday. in the interest of time, basically. I think the other one, I'm definitely going to spend some more time there just because it's more interesting. The scenery's more interesting and makes for more interesting photographs. But today we're kind of pressed for time, so we're going to go on the usual one, and here we go. Had some pain in my feet starting out today. It's getting a little better now, but coming out of the office sometimes, I guess, just sitting for too long. Been trying to pay attention when my watch tells me, it's been 50 minutes, it's time to walk around, so I've been doing that a little more lately. Didn't have lunch today, which is not recommended. As a result, I got hungry and wound up eating a piece of pie around 2 o'clock. So it's worth it to eat, definitely. Looks like rain, not so much here. I left my house, it definitely did. It rained earlier this morning. And I was a little concerned because I have no rain gear. One of the many things lacking in my running equipment list. As a result of the weather today, we have a beautiful sky, which I took a picture of, and you should be able to see. So even though I didn't go on the picturesque trail running off down south from the marina, still got a good picture. I was thinking yesterday when I was walking back, and even walking out, even now, there's a kind of a pace that I get into that's kind of I guess it's my natural pace or whatever. Not really quick as I want it to be, but it's really hard to overcome. Not terribly slow, but not as quick as I want it to be. So what do you do when it's raining? I would like to have a treadmill, like to have proper running gear so I could be dressed for it. So I could go out and actually work out in the rain. That's what I really want to do, is to keep my regular workout. It's just more interesting. I can imagine sort of doing this while I'm on a treadmill. But I probably will try it if I ever get to that point. So far I hadn't had to worry about that, and I figure today if it starts raining I can just turn around and go back. Well, actually, I want to just wrap up the run cast here because I haven't been doing that. The run actually felt better, I have to admit. Even though there were times during the run when I felt discouraged. It was only 105 seconds, mind you. There are all kinds of feelings going on during that time, during that short period of time. And it helps to remind myself of the overall goal and purpose of what I'm doing. Because there actually is a lot of time for contemplation and thinking while you're running and walking, exercising. So I got to remember that I have that power, that mental power, even while my body is straining. I don't know how far I went yesterday. I think it's maybe not. Actually, I don't know exactly how far I went yesterday on that new part of the trail. I did over 8,000 steps on my pedometer yesterday. That's for the whole day. So I had 3,000 when I started, 3,000 something and change, when I got home from work. So it's possible I may break that record today. We'll see. Anyway, I think that's probably all I'm going to say on the walk itself. I did try to cool down. You don't want to just suddenly break into, your heart, break into, 180 beats a minute from 90 beats a minute. You don't want to just suddenly go back to no activity after that. So it's hard because after the run, I just want to relax. I want to slow down and rest. But I tried to be a little bit better at that today, and that's progress. It's 10 minutes after 5, which is I left work about 4. It'll take me a few minutes to get home. I was thinking that I probably could leave work. Of course, I did do some things around the house before I came out here that I don't necessarily have to do. I didn't come, straight out to the car and go. But I was thinking I could leave work, get home and change, be out on the trail, do my run, and get back, because I live so close to work and I live so close to the course that I use, in less than an hour. But it didn't happen today, probably an hour and 15 minutes. But that's still pretty good. So I am also thinking about my goal. So, we have setbacks, and the important thing I think is not to look at it as a failure when you have a setback, because then it's easier to say, well, I've already failed, so I'm not going to try anymore. Look at a setback as an opportunity to improve, an opportunity to move forward and just get back on the horse again, metaphorically, and move ahead. Get back on the same trail you were on. And the quicker I think that I do that, the better things are going to be. I came back from Thanksgiving Saturday night. It was too dark to go out. But the very next day, I was out on the trail. So I think that's good. If Thanksgiving was somewhat of a setback, then, having those 3 days off, then I did what I should do. I didn't let it hold me back. I got right back up and continued to work. I think that's really the difference between success overall and failure. Because the truth is, we all have setbacks, we all have weaknesses, we all have small failures. I've heard it called failing forward. You fail and you learn from that and you move on. So if some people are more successful in certain ways than others, and everyone fails, then that must mean that the difference is that those who succeed must come back from the failures and continue on. I'm not perfect. I'm not Jesus. I'm not God. I try to live like that, but I can't, because I'm imperfect. And so I believe everyone is like that. Every human being is like that. And so that is the deal. Can you get up, dust yourself off, and continue on? So pretty good workout overall today. I did sticking with 2 miles, and I increased my run. Actually, I think I skipped a step in the running because I didn't run. I ran for a minute, and then the next day I ran for 90 seconds. So I skipped the 75 seconds that should have been in there. So I'm ahead of myself, really, in terms of my goals. I also noticed today that I think I ran almost a quarter mile, if not a whole quarter mile, if there can be such a thing as a whole quarter mile. And if that's the case, I know my counting isn't the same, and honestly, I have a lot of trouble counting when I'm running. And so if I've reached that quarter mile level, I'm happy that I can do that and maybe use distance as my measuring stick, instead of trying to count. But I tried to count to 105, and I think I did, and I think I went quarter mile. It doesn't really make sense, though, because that would mean that in 105 seconds times 4, basically a 7-minute mile, which there's no way that can be true. I barely broke 6 minutes when I was in junior high school. I don't think I've really measured. I don't recall what it was like in the Navy. They had we had to take a fitness test every year, but I can't really remember what my times were. I just know I kind of passed. But anyway, that's good news, and hopefully then I will try to just work up to running for a half a mile. It honestly gets better as I run longer. It seems to, anyway. I think that endorphins kick in and it just becomes easier after a while. But it was easier today, even though the mental part wasn't any easier. Mental is a big part of this thing. So that's about all for today. Keep the fever.